this is part one to my scam series on how I was defrauded and swindled out of close to $4,000 by a Facebook dating swindler. Just going to tell my story in full detail, and I know I'm probably going to be judged. So what? It is what it is. But this is my truth. I'm trying to currently heal from it. I'm very traumatized from this situation. I am in therapy and I am on multiple anxiety medicines. So to help myself grow through what I went through, I'm just speaking my story and my truth. So basically, I met a guy through Facebook dating app, and he swiped on me first, and then I matched with him. We wrote back and forth. I gave him my number. He started texting me, and immediately he's telling me how he has commercial buildings and that he was meeting up with clients at the moment. And I replied back and said that I'd love to be on that status one day because I was trying to enter entrepreneurship as well. He tells me, let's meet up and let's talk money. Cool. After so many texts back and forth, he eventually FaceTimes. We're talking back and forth on FaceTime. And he's just telling me all the little things like he just can't believe I have a boyfriend and da-da-da. And then he's asking and trying to see if I'm really coming to see him or if I'm playing. I wasn't serious at first. I was procrastinating and I was just hesitant. I just had got out of a 6-month relationship about a year prior. So I was still kind of fresh on the scene. So it was whatever. But I eventually got ready, and right after we got off the phone, he's asking me what I like to drink and making it seem like he was going to get a bottle, get down there. And right when I get there, I'm on the phone with my best friend, and I'm telling him I'm outside, and he immediately comes out and walks up to my car, walks up on my car. I didn't even notice or see him, and it kind of startled me, but we just introduced each other, talked back and forth. It was nothing. We go up to his apartment complex to the 5th floor. It was like a lounge area where anyone could just hang out. TV, it was really nice. We're just up there chopping it up, talking. Wasn't thinking anything. We're just having casual conversation, getting to know each other. So after that was my air freshener. After so long, just talking back and forth, I had noticed that, of course, there wasn't any liquor bottle. He didn't get anything. And when I brought it to his attention, he had said that how he been running around all day and how he didn't feel like going to the liquor store. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And I pulled out my Douce bottle that I had already had. I had said basically that I was hungry. And before I even had came as well, I had asked if we could grab something to eat. So by the time I got there and we were talking, chilling, drinking, I was like developing an appetite. And I said that I was hungry and I was ready to go eat. And we go out. We walked to the nearest Goodfellas. It was right around the corner. Go inside. It's kind of packed. So we're like, okay, whatever. Let's check out the upstairs. It was a bar upstairs. Walk upstairs. I don't know if he wasn't feeling the vibe. I don't know what was going on, but he was ready to go back out. So I was like, okay, cool. We were halfway down the steps, and he was telling me how he didn't have his ID on him. And I was just like, okay, that's fine. He said we were going to go back to his apartment and get the ID. He had stopped by my car because I had told him I had some things in my car. And he was like insisting that I just, no, don't leave that in your car. Bring it up to my apartment. Okay. So we stop by my car. I get the stuff out of there. We go back up to his apartment. So now we're inside his apartment. He goes into bathroom, room, wherever it was, because it was connected. And I was just stood by the door. I wasn't moving. I wasn't paying attention to anything. I was just minding my business. I just met this person. I do not want to make it seem like I'm on anything in this person's house. Then he comes back out. I leave my purse on his couch. We head back out. We go back down and we're walking back towards Goodfellas, but he wasn't really feeling it. So he's like, let's go somewhere else. So I said, okay, cool. We go across the street. There was another pizza spot. Get inside. Immediately when we get inside, he picks up his phone and he says that he has a business call. Okay, I didn't think anything of it. Just continued and looked at the menu, whatever, talked to the waitress. So I was peeping. I could see him peeping. Wasn't really no big deal. Comes back to the table. We order. I say, how I wanted the quesadillas. And he was saying that he was fasting, so he wasn't hungry, but that he was still eat some mozzarella sticks. So I ordered those for us as well. We ordered together, basically, and chopped it up, sat there. The vibes were good. We talked about family. I talked about me going to school. We talked about where we were from. He told me that he was from LA. I asked him about childhood memories, the parts of where he was from, about his siblings, his family, etc., etc. Telling me how He has a bunch of condos in different places, and he has family in different places, etc., etc. He asked for the check. The waitress brings us the check, and he picks up the check from the table, looks at it, puts it back down, and slides the check in front of me and says, "Oh, that's nothing. I can cash out you that." And I was like, okay. That was the second red flag, because the first red flag was he came and was wearing a dingy shirt, basketball shorts, and slides. I'm not one to judge, but I was just like, for your first time meeting up with someone, especially about business, if it's whatever, you're going to come looking like that, but whatever. So yeah, second red flag was that. But I just was like, okay, I'm not going to think nothing of it. Said you're going to pay me back. Okay, I'm not going to trip about $15, getting back $15, basically. Pull my wallet out and I pay. So we leave. Go back to the 5th floor, not his apartment, but the 5th floor of the apartment complex, where it's the little lounge area. And we began drinking my Douce bottle again, finished the Douce bottle. We're just, again, chopping it up, getting to know each other. And he's telling me about how he has 19 different Airbnb properties all over the U.S. He has commercial buildings. He has clients. He travels, etc., etc. He was telling me how he could help me start my own Airbnb, how I should put my apartment on Airbnb, etc., etc. Then we began talking about past relationships. I told him about my past relationship. Then he begins to tell me about his past relationship. He was saying how his ex was lazy, how she lived up underneath him. He paid all the bills. She didn't do anything but basically just sleep all day. And he was saying that she would nag a lot and that he just wasn't really interested in her anymore because of the way she acted, and she was just too problematic. Said that he was just looking for a girl to just sit back and count the money and just enjoy life with him. And I was just like, I can dig that. And that's when he began telling me how he was feeling me, how he wanted me to run all of his businesses, how we're going to start businesses together, how we're just going to get to this money. And it was just sounding good. I was drinking, we were vibing. He was just making it all sound good. And then he was telling me, yeah, don't let what I have on fool you. I can still get dressed, put that on. I seen the pictures on the Facebook dating app. He looked like he was taking care of himself. So I didn't think nothing of it when I seen him dressed the way he was, because I was like, maybe he's just down right now. So whatever. He's telling me how he had just got back from Puerto Rico. He's showing me pictures, videos of his trip. And then he's telling me how he has his own liquor brand. Then I'm asking him, well, show me the liquor. He's showing me the liquor. And then I'm asking, well, can I taste some? But he's telling me that he didn't have any. He told me that he basically just moved from LA down here to Kentucky. And he said that he didn't have any on him. It was back in one of his condos in Arizona. Told me how the alcohol that he distilled, he went to Mexico, and just the process, and et cetera, in which I went to school for that. So I just thought we were vibing and having similarities. The vibe gets to going, and we get to getting flirtatious, and one thing leads to another, of course. And we go back down to his apartment complex, and that was the only time that I was consensual with him. And after that, everything seemed fine. And even before all that happened, we had already discussed how he said that he had to get up early around like 4 a.m. for a business. He had to meet clients and do stuff, etc. So once we got finished, I just didn't think nothing of it. We were sitting there just chilling, flirting back and forth, talking, end of the night, basically. So as he was walking me back down to my car, he's telling me to share my location and to let me know, of course, when I make it home. I didn't think nothing of it. I was just thinking, okay, well, he's really feeling me, so I'm going to just share my location. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I call my best friend, and of course, I tell her, and she's telling me, like, no, that's a red flag. But I don't think nothing of it. I'm just thinking, like, maybe, he just wants to be cautious of me and make sure that I'm safe. But yeah, I make it home, and I'll be back for part 2 for the next day. Like Risa Teresa said, this story is the United Nations of red flags. It was so many red flags. I was, for sure, colorblind. I'm just so upset with myself that I really let somebody get over on me like that. Like, I was just a literal green light, a walking green light. It's sad because I really know better, but I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And like, I never in my wildest dream would have expected somebody to lie about their entire being and identity. Like, I watch shit like that on TV. I would have never expected that shit to happen to me. Like, I literally ran into somebody with a narcissistic personality disorder. So yeah, this is part 2 to my scam series on how I was defrauded and swindled out of close to $4,000 by the Facebook dating Swindler. So I got back home that night. Nothing happened to me. Everything was fine. The next morning, he texted me and asked if I was good. And I said, yeah, I'm good. How are you feeling? And he said, I'm feeling like it's time for us to get in our bag. So I said, yeah, it is. And I'm ready to follow your lead. Just tell me what's up, what you need me to do. He replies and says, I need you to be transparent about where you're at in life right now. I said, I'm definitely not where I want to be right now. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go back and finish my master's degree, trying to figure out my next game plan. I said, but my finances are stable, and I'll tell you whatever else you wanted to know. Then he replies and says, you got money saved up. I did not think anything of it. Yes, dumb, stupid, ignorant, naive, etc., etc., etc. Keep going. So I was just trying to be upfront coming into something new because of how I was just so conservative about my finances in my previous relationship. So I was completely honest, and I told him about how I didn't have any money saved up at the time, but I'm good with managing money. I told him about how I had just made some money off of, I had created my own TikTok shop, and I profited off that. And I just let him know pretty much like a little rundown. And at the end, I had basically said that I had a short-term goal by the end of the month that I basically just wanted to have some different motion. And he had replied and said, let's get it. So I just thought it was all good intentions. So I replied a corny reply. I just sent back the He Glock song, Let's Go. And then I was like, but not for real. I'm really ready to get to the money. And by getting to the money, I mean by starting my own Airbnb business. So I replied back and said, I'm loyal. Just wait and see. When you talk to me, you won't have to worry about anything while talking to me. I had said, I'll take care of you and I'll do what you need me to do. That was my worst mistake. That's when I activated the green light for him, basically. I was on a cloud thinking that I'm about to be talking to somebody again and be with somebody again. So I just was out of here. Always feeling like I have to prove myself to men, and that's my biggest mistake. But anyways, so he replies back and asks and says, so you're going to Detroit tomorrow? And I reply back and say, yeah, but I thought he was meaning right with him to Detroit. Then I asked if he was coming to see me later because the previous night when I was there, he said that he wanted to come over to my place. That's what made me feel like he was interested in me because I was like, he's ready to see me again. So he says, yeah, and then I just say back, okay, bet, have a good day. So then he texts me a couple hours later and says some sexual flirtatious things, and we go back and forth. Then I ask, do you want me to cook? And he says it's all good. Then I ask and say, what time do you think you're coming? No response. So I let a couple hours go by, and then I texted him with the eyes. The eyes emoji, if you don't know what I'm talking about. He says he's waiting on a play, then he's going to come. And I say, okay. Then he calls and he says that he might have somebody send some money to my phone. I was thinking, cool, I'm about to get my $15 back. I mean, something. But that's not what it was. It says to me to send a screenshot of my profile on Zelle. So I sent the screenshot of where it just says my name and my number. But my number showed up as my old house phone number. He texts and says, that's not your number. And I had to let him know, like, it's not that one. It's underneath my house number. He then says, okay, pull up real quick so I can pull the money out with you when they send it. And I'm like, real quick? We are an hour and a half apart. That's not real quick, one. And two, you're supposed to be coming to see me. So I am so confused. So then I said my ATM limit is only $200 a day, and I would have to call and increase it if I wanted to, and that they were closed for the day. Then I asked again, are you still coming? No response. Then I texted again, the eyes emoji. And he replies back to me a screenshot of a conversation that he's having with somebody. I guess trying to show me a business conversation. He asked the person, whoever he was texting, and said the meeting went smooth, and they replied back and said, yes, sir. And then they said, okay, we're going to Zelle you the $2,500, or can we cash app it to you? So when he sent the screenshot, he said underneath it, hold on, I'm trying to do something. So I backed off. I said, okay. No response. Sat there and waited. Then I responded again, and I said, are you still coming? Not trying to bug you. No response. Then I texted again, I could leave my key in the car for you if you're still coming. No response. So then he texts me at 12:24 a.m. and asks me if I'm up. And I was asleep. So then when I woke up to use the bathroom, I had seen the text message, and I was like, yeah, I'm up now. Of course, no response. The next morning, I waited all morning, and I didn't hear from him. So then I texted, and I asked and said, what's up? So then he replies back and says, what's up, baby? We got moved today, and I might need a favor. I instantly called him. No answer. I was like, okay. Texted, and I was like, I just called you, but what's up? And so he then asked me to go and buy him something that I'm not going to say, and I'll give you the money back. I try to call him, no answer. So then I said, you need to call me. So he calls me and we talk and we get off the phone, and then he texts me and he says, what did you ensure your location for? And I said, because I figured you wasn't serious. You didn't turn yours on, and I just figured I should turn mine off. And I said, I'm really big on communication, so as long as you communicate with me, we good. He replies and says, don't start acting weird. I fuck with you. And I said, I'm not acting weird, but you just need to answer the phone when I call you, or at least call me back. And he replied back and he agreed. And then he said again, let's go to Detroit today. I replied back and I said, okay, I'll get ready. And then that's when he called me and he asked me if I was going to come and bring him what I had just bought for him. So I was like, okay, yeah. And we got off the phone, and then I texted him and I said, I'm about to get on the road. Texted me and said, are you on the road yet? But I had told him before we got off the phone, like right when after I get ready, I'm just going to be on my way. So I replied back and I said, I'm 30 minutes away. So I pull up to his apartment. I'm trying to find a parking space, but I couldn't find a parking space. And then I eventually found one, and I called and I asked and I said, is it okay if I come up and use the bathroom? And he spazzes out on me. And I was like, what the heck? He instantly goes into, you always gotta pee and da-da-da, because basically when we met the first night, when I got there, I had asked and said I needed to use the bathroom. And when we got up on the 5th floor, the lounge area, he had showed me where the bathroom was. So fast forward to now, he's like, you always gotta pee, and what you want? What you just trying to come in here and see my house? What you trying to see what I'm doing? Da-da-da. No, it's not even that. And he was like, I'm sure there's a place around there that you can go use the bathroom at. And I was like, you're really tripping, but okay, cool. Another red flag, because I should have known. Why would a dude trip about you using the bathroom? Especially because I just drove an hour and a half down here to see you, and I just bought you something, did you a favor. That's when I should have known. Stupid. So then it was a little bar right where I parked at, and I go in and use the bathroom at the bar. And when I come out, he's standing right there in my car. He has his laptop in his hand. He has all his chargers, his phone, all this little stuff that he has in his hand. And when I walk up, I'm like, I didn't know that I was driving. And he doesn't reply to me. And I'm like, okay, open the door. Well, I unlock my doors. He gets in the car. We both get in the car. I'm like, I didn't know I was driving. What's going on? He says, man, this dude just came to pick my car up because he's wrapping it matte black, like a paint job. And he said that he was upset because he left his key fob to his apartment complex and his wallet in his car. So I'm back with part 3 on how I was defrauded and swindled out of close to $4,000 by the Facebook dating swindler. So anyways, back to the story. So I left off at when he said that he left his key fob to his apartment and his wallet in the car that somebody had came to pick up to wrap matte black, like a color paint job on the car. And in my head, I'm just thinking there's just absolutely no way that a man would leave his wallet in the car I just tried to believe what he was saying and give him the benefit of the doubt. And so we're just going back and forth. And then he's saying to me, but, oh, you said we was running Detroit today anyway. But I was saying, no, you didn't say that I was driving. And he was like, well, you didn't ask either. And I was like, well, you didn't ask either. So clearly it's just miscommunication on both parts. We end up going back and forth, back and forth. And then he's saying, you're upset about that. I'm the one who's upset. I can't get back into my apartment and I don't got my fucking wallet. He was like literally the moment I walked out the apartment and then I shut the door, it was a wrap. There was no way I could get back inside the apartment. So that's when I began to feel a little sorry for him, and I eased up off of him. And then that's when he asked, did you bring what you bought me? And I was like, yes, I showed him. And then he asked, well, why didn't I get other things for what I had bought? And I was like, well, you didn't ask me to do that. So then he's like, well, let's find a store, put an address, and go to a store and get that. He finds a store, we put the address in, and now we're on the way. We go all the way to the store, we get inside, and we find what we're looking for. And as we're walking to the counter to pay, he hands it to me. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, so he really don't have his wallet or have no type of money, nothing on him, so he's about to expect me to pay for everything today. And instantly, I just had a mini attitude because I just was like, there is no way that this is about to happen. I'm just too nice of a person. And in my head, I was just thinking, well, he doesn't have his wallet, so I should just look out for him at the time. I ended up buying it, and that totaled out part 4 on who the fuck did I meet on Facebook dating. I was swindled by the Facebook dating swindler, Mr. Million. So where I left off, we walk inside Walmart, and he's telling me, you know, I just moved down here and I'm looking for stuff, trying to figure out what all I want in the apartment, this and that. So he's like, let's go back to the electronic section. So we walk to the back, and he's looking at this, looking at that. Then he's like, let's look at the TVs. So he's looking at the TVs. Then he looks at me and puts his hand on my shoulder and says, babe, I need a TV. And I was like, okay, I don't know what you're telling me for. Like, okay. So he's like, I mean, I'm just saying, well, do you think you'd be able to get this for me? And, you know, I'm already paying you back. So now I instantly looked at him like, no, because I've already maxed out today. I've already spent what I did, and I don't have it. So then he's just sitting there, and he's like, damn. So then he's like, you think you could get it out the ATM? And I was saying, like, I don't know because of how much I had spent. So then he was just like, damn, looking down at the ground. So here where my dumb comes into play. I say, but I have a credit card. Y'all, yes, y'all can go in on me for that. Y'all, when I told this man I had a credit card, he went like this. So now he's saying, damn girl, you must want to get married, don't you? I literally was like, boy, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just thinking that he's geeking because he's excited, thinking that he's about to get this TV right here in the moment. And of course, he doesn't have his wallet, so I'm looking out for him. So that's what's causing even more excitement. Now he's, you know, smacking his hands together, trying to figure out which inch TV he want, looking around. Oh, I'm going to need a wall mount, da-da-da. So now he's like, we need a buggy, we need a flatbed, something. So now we're walking around looking for that. Find one, go back to the back. He puts the size TV that he wanted in the buggy, and then goes, finds a wall mount, gets that. So we walk to the counter, and we're trying to pay. My card's not working. My credit card. I think that was by the grace of God trying to tell me something. It wasn't working. Don't know why. Hadn't used it all that day and days, actually. Don't know why it wasn't working. Wasn't working. So now he's saying I should go to the ATM and get the money off. This is my first credit card, so I'm still getting the hang of things. And yes, I am a little slow and a little blind when it comes to certain things. And so I never knew, or I guess put that much research into a credit card to know basically that it's an interest charge rate for when you use the ATM for your credit card. I find that out later. But anyways, now we're walking towards the front of Walmart looking for the ATM. So now we get to the ATM. ATM is not working. Again, I think it's a guy trying to tell me something like, stop taping. Didn't. So ATM's not working. So now I'm like, I don't know what's going on with my card, and I'm trying to call the card people. So now he's getting frustrated, and he's like, oh, well, let's just leave, go back to the apartment. He said he has somebody waiting on him at the apartment for business. So we leave, get in the car, and on the way there, I finally get a hold of somebody, and I'm on the car with the credit card people, and I'm asking them what's going on with my card, and they're telling me that everything's perfectly fine. It was just I was out of state, and they were just making sure that it wasn't any fraudulent transactions. So as we're on the way back to his apartment complex, I'm playing music through my car, and I play the song Finessing Out the P, whatever the correct name of the song is, by Finesse 2 Times. And he's like all into it, and he's really feeling it. He asked me to replay the song, and I'm like, why would you ask me to replay the song? Then I'm sitting there literally listening to the lyrics, trying to like delve and see, is he trying to make a point? Is he relating? Like, why is he just digging to this song so hard? I found out later. So we get back to the apartment, and that's when he was telling me that he was about to go meet somebody for business. And he was like, do you think you want to go back to Walmart and try to get that stuff? So I said, cool, that's fine. So I headed back to Walmart, and I didn't tell him that I had money on me. So I was just like, let me just go on and get the TV wall mount, whatever. The TV, get the TV wall mount. It ends up being $293. leave Walmart, I'm on my way back. And I tell him that I'm on the way back, and he texts me back and says, and asks, did I get the TV and the TV I'm out? And I said, yes. So then he texts back and asks, did you run to the ATM? And I was like, no, was I supposed to? And he was like, yeah, because we gonna make it through. Instantly called because I was just wondering why he wanted me to go. And of course, no answer. And I text some question marks, and then he responds and says, yeah, I should go to the ATM. And I said, well, where are you at and why are you not answering? He doesn't reply to that question. He just replies back and says, how much are you taking out? All I reply, so my dumbass, I just replied back, I could only do 200. I and told him I went to 2 different banks to try to use the ATM for my credit card, and it still wasn't working. So I ended up having to use my bank card, and with my bank card, I can only get $200 out the ATM. He replies back a screenshot of a location to where I should go to try this ATM out. And by the time he did that, I had texted back and told him that I was out front. He replies back and says, babe, you know this is the wrong TV. And I was like, no, that's the one that you wanted that was $258. So I reply back like, damn, I didn't even realize. And he puts the rolling eyes face, and he's like, here I come locking storage. And I'm like, hold on, how are you locking the storage if you said, one, that you didn't have your key fob to get into your apartment and that you only had access to the front door and the elevator? How, what? And I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it be. And I just said, never mind, nothing. And he replies back and says, he's not back yet with my Benz truck. So for him to just reply like, oh, he's not back with my Benz truck yet, of course I had the thought like, does this man even have a Benz? Why does he have to announce Benz truck? Then he had just asked where I'm at, and I said I'm parked on the street. So he comes down, he gets in my car, we're sitting there talking, going back and forth, and then he asks me about the money that I had just got out the ATM and says that he needed that because he's waiting on the dude to pull up with the camera. So I give him the money, and then now he's telling me, can you look up a hotel for us to stay at? It was late, like maybe 11:30. Yeah, it was 11:30 midnight, going on 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. And when he said, look up the hotel, I said, why would I be looking up a hotel if dude would be on his way back with your car? And he was like, I just want to stay in a hotel tonight. But as he's doing this, he literally said that and then shuts the door, walks off. And I was just sitting there looking. I started looking up hotels, but time goes by 20, 30, 40 minutes maybe. He finally texts me and says, did you get it? And I said no, and that I was still looking. This man replies to me and says, I'm shitting. I said, thanks for telling me. And then I just said, did you find one? I said, send me some that you see online. This man replies back and says, go on Google and type in hotel near me. He had said that to me earlier that day, talking about some go get on Google. And so I knew he was just trying to be smart aleck. So I replied back and I was like, what do you think I'm doing? Then he replies back to me and just says a hotel name. And I reply back and I send him a screenshot of their room prices, and they were kind of high. I said, these are the only rooms that they have available. And he said, no, we're not doing that. So I texted him back and I said, try to find somewhere else. He sends me a screenshot of another hotel, and then I send him a screenshot of a different hotel. He replies back to me and tells me that he's almost done, which I'm assuming using the bathroom or meeting up with the dude to get this camera. So I reply back and send him another screenshot of a hotel room. He sends me another screenshot of another hotel. But as he's doing that, I'm on the phone with one of the hotels trying to see about prices and bookings, and reply back, all I said was, okay, I need to pee. And he writes me again and says, okay, but did you find a room? Did not check, but I see a couple, and then I ask, like, where do I walk in? To the front? Where do I come? So he tells me come through the front door and that he was going to buzz me in. Because, mind you, he's done downloaded some app on his phone to where he claims he can access the front door to the apartment building. So I said to him that I'm at the front door, and then he asked me, did it open? And then I said, yes. So I go inside, and as I'm using the bathroom, I had texted him, and I said, where are you at? This man replies to me and says, I'm on the 5th floor. Piss and go find the hotel. I said, why can't I come up? He says he's using the bathroom and that he didn't want to shit up the gym. And then he proceeds to ask and say, can you hurry up and just find the room so that I can be up underneath him as much as I want it to be? I reply back to him, and I'm irritated at this point, and I said, you got Google just like I do, so you can send me a link for a hotel. Texts back and says, just pull up to a hotel and get it. I'm getting restless and that he should have stayed on schedule for the day. Said, okay, I've been driving all day, as he would know, and that I'm pretty restless myself. And he says, okay, so am I going to keep questioning him, or am I going to go get the room? So he says to me, okay, are you going to go get the room, or do you want to keep asking me weird questions? Now by then I'm irritated, and I reply back, shut up. And so he replies back, hurry, boo. I guess trying to put the boo on the end to try to make it sound better. So then he replies and asks, how far is it, the hotel? And I tell him that it's about 16 minutes away, and that it was basically the cheapest one that I had seen. This man, Mr. Million, texts back and says that the dude that supposedly had his car to wrap it matte black, like the paint job, matte black, had been on his way trying to bring him his Benz truck all night, and then says that he needs me rested because he needs this burden off of his shoulders, and then replies back and says, so can you do that for me and stop questioning me? So I reply back, no confrontation, like a dummy. And I just said back, okay, boo. So then he texts me back and says, so you're not getting it? And I had to tell him, like, yeah, I'm getting it, but not the ones that he had sent, but the one that I had looked up and that I was on the phone, da-da-da, etc., etc. Say that I'm on the way to the hotel, and then he says, okay. I get to the hotel, I get settled in. By the time I do that, he texts me and he asks me if I'm up. And I reply back and I said, yes. He replies back and he says, what's the room number? And so I reply back to him and I tell him that, like his apartment, the hotel has a key card, and that I would have to come down from the elevator, come down from the room on the elevator to get him, to bring him up to the room. And so I had asked him if he could stop by the front desk and grab toothpaste before he heads to the elevator for me to come get him. It was so late, of course I ended up dozing off. And when I woke up, it was literally, I would say, 6:30 in the morning. No response from him, and he was not there. So this is part 7 to my scam series on how I was scammed by Mr. Million, the Facebook dating swindler. I promise y'all the story is going to get crazy. Just wait and listen. I am not the only victim, okay? No, I'm not. He is doing and has done this to multiple women that he has met through the Facebook dating app. That's why he is called the Facebook dating swindler. Just wait and see. Just listen. Yes, I should have been more careful. Yes, I shouldn't have been naive. Yes, I wanted somebody to like me. Yes, I am admitting to everything. Everything you're thinking. Yes, I know, and I have felt it. Trust me. Trust me, I get it, okay? I'm just the only female I think that he has got the most from, okay? So where I left off, I had woke up around like 6:30 in the morning, and I instantly checked my phone and I see no response from him. And of course I didn't hear a phone call from the front desk or anyone to wake me up. So I started feeling like, what's going on? And so I instantly call him, and I'm blowing his phone up. I called his phone so many times. No answer. Kept calling, no answer. So I leave the hotel and make my way to the apartment complex. It was like 7 a.m., something like that. And when I pull up, I'm just sitting outside watching the residents going in and out, because I just wanted to find the right person to see who I can help let me in, because of course they all have access to the building with these key fobs. So then I see this guy walking his dog, and I walk up to him and I said to him, like, hey, my boyfriend just moved in this apartment building and he's upstairs asleep, and he knows I'm on the way over here, but he's not answering the phone. He's asleep. Do you mind just letting me up? He was hesitant at first, but then he ended up being cool about it. And then of course he explained to me how I couldn't access anywhere in the building without the key fobs. So he was saying, like, if you go anywhere in the building, I'm just going to have to go with you until you find him, because I don't want you to get locked inside of the building. So we get on the elevator, we go up. Mind you, of course, the last place that I thought he said he was on the 5th floor. So him, let's just check the 5th floor at first, because I wanted to see if he would actually had been up there. So go up to the 5th floor. There's not a soul up there. I just looked to the left, and it was the little lounge area. And then when you look straight ahead, they have an outdoor lounge area. You go to the right, it was some bathrooms. And then I didn't explore anything beyond that perimeter to know what was over there. So, of course, once we don't see anyone, the guy that let me up, he was like asking, do you know what floor he lives on? And I said, of course I know what floor he lives on. So then I'm like, okay, well, he lives on the 3rd floor, so let's just go there. Go down to the 3rd floor. He lived right when you got off the elevator. Or I wouldn't say lived. I would say the apartment was right when you got off the elevator. So I'm just knocking. I sat there and knocked for about 30 seconds to a minute. I was soft knocking. Like, I guess I wasn't knocking hard enough. I don't know. Nobody came to the door, though. And so then the dude's just standing in the elevator looking at me like, are you even really telling the truth? He's trying to figure out what do I have going on. And then he keeps telling me, like, well, I just would like for you to come with me because I feel like if I leave you and then he's not here, you're going to be locked inside the building on this floor and you won't be able to get out, basically. And so I just stood there for a second. I was pondering and I was like, damn. And I said, okay, well, he does have a point and that does make sense. So let me just leave. Nobody still came to the door. Get on the elevator, go back down the elevator. And as we're going back down the elevator, I had texted him and I said, call me. Y'all, the moment I had got off that elevator and I'm walking to my car, getting my car, he's calling. I feel like he had watched me through, like, out the window, because the way I had parked, like the way his apartment was, or where the apartment was, I should say, you literally could see my car, like, diagonal distance. The moment I answer the phone, he's like, what are you doing? Why are you here so early? What's your problem? Like, you doing the most? Why you acting weird? Da-da-da this, da-da-da that. And I start screaming at him like, you're the one acting weird. Why did you not answer the phone? Why did you not come to the hotel last night? I tell him, what is going on? You need to stop lying. You need to tell me what's going on. He's persistent and insisting that he is not lying and that I'm the one that's being weird. We go back and forth on the phone. Eventually, he says he's about to come down. So then we get off the phone. He texts me and says, where am I parked at on the street? I tell him. He replies and says, I'm confused on why you doing weird shit. You making me nervous. I said, what's the problem and what's weird? You didn't come to the hotel. You wasn't planning on coming into the hotel. I just woke up and now I'm here. So that's weird? Doesn't respond to that. All he says back is that he's coming down. So I replied, and I'm trying to catch him up in his lie. And I said, but you're laying in the bed and you can buzz me up from your phone, so it's no big deal. He replies back and says that I can't get up the elevator, which later on down the road, come to find out, I could. I was like, okay, still just a little bitty tiny ounce trying to give this man the benefit of the doubt and believe that he's not lying. So I replied and I said, I know, but I can still get through the front door and I could just meet you at the elevator. But by then, he's already done came down and walking out the front door. So when I look up and I see him, this man has a whole different outfit on. So I instantly was like, what is going on? He gets in my car and tries to act like he's upset. Like, why you here so early? You making me nervous. You doing weird shit. What you on, some setup shit? What you on? Like, he keeps asking me what am I on. And that's when I couldn't take it no more. And I just came back and said, what are you on? You the one who's lying? Like, nigga, I said I went up to the 5th floor. You wasn't there. So where was you? I slept by the pool. Why you doing weird shit? Da, 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 da. Like, screaming, y'all. Like, he got stuck. Like, he's like this. Like, jumping up and down. Like, screaming. Like, trying to prove his point that he is not lying. He was like, I waited all night for this nigga to come with my car, and he didn't. Don't you think I'm mad about that? I waited for dude to come with this camera, and he didn't. I'm mad about that. He said, I'm so mad that I had to sleep next to the pool. This man said he slept next to the pool in a lounge chair. So I'm like, pool? What pool? Where? I didn't see no pool. He's like, you wouldn't see no pool. You wouldn't know because you don't live here. Then I said, how are you in different clothes? He told me that he went inside of his storage unit and changed clothes. Just kept questioning him. He literally just kept talking over me because he just kept wanting to prove his point that he wasn't lying and that he was actually where he said he was. And so I'm just an emotional girl. I can cry at the drop of the dime. just like that, when I'm upset and when I'm mad, anything, any type of emotion. So from where I was just so irritated and so mad, I started crying and I started breaking down. And I was just like, I just cannot believe that you're acting like this and that you're talking to me like this and that we're even here right now in this moment. Now that I'm crying, now he's trying to console me and he's holding me and he's hugging me and he's telling me to stop crying and that everything's going to be okay. And he was like, just wait and see. I promise you, when dude get back on my car, you going to see. So I just calmed down and I just believed what he said. So we sat there and then he did the famous line and asked me to pull up my maps so he could put an address in my phone. Pull up my maps, give him my phone. He put some address. I can't remember how far it was, but it was a camera store. And he says, go here. But of course, like, I had tapped on it to click and see, but it had said like arriving at wherever we was going. So I seen like, okay, we were just going to a store, so that's cool. So we pull up to the store and he's asking me to go into the store with him. And I said, no, I don't feel like it, because I was still kind of upset. So he's like, okay, hops out, goes inside the store. 5-10 minutes go by. Now he's calling me and he's like, babe, I need you to come inside the store. I need to use your card. I said, no. And I said it sternly, no. He was like, I promise you, I'm not buying anything. I'm just trying to rent this camera, but they said that they need a card on file while we rent the camera. And he was like, it's not your card's not going to get charged until we, or he said, it's not going to be no payment charged until we bring the camera back from renting it. He just said they just need a card on file. And I just went inside with my card. This is part 8 to who the fuck did I meet on Facebook dating. So, where I left off, he asked me to come inside the store with my card. I go inside. He's right there at the counter with the workers. When I walk up, the workers are like, are you the one that's going to have the card on file? I said yes. And then they're sitting there explaining to me the rental agreement. And then he said, like, you know, you would be liable and charged on your card if anything was to happen to this camera, or if the camera and whatever else he was trying to rent isn't brought back. And so, like, I just had a blank stare on my face, blank expression, and my face was still red, kind of poofy from where I had been crying. So the worker asked me, do you understand and do you agree with this rental agreement? And I just nodded my head and I said yes. And so then he had looked at me and then he was like, okay. And so then he said that he was going to put us down for a reservation. But the workers had also said, I believe, that it was not a for sure chance that we would be able to rent the equipment, so that they would give us a call back. So when we leave out of there, we get in the car, and that's when he's like, man, fuck them, let's just go somewhere else. And he was thinking to himself, and then he was like, let's go to Best Buy. So I drive to Best Buy. While we on the way to Best Buy, he's just scrolling on his phone. I could tell he's scrolling on social media. Then he gets a call from someone, I believe maybe a family member, a family friend, I don't know who. And they were just going back and forth talking about family. And then he was like talking about, yeah, something that he just talked to somebody, or one of them, or her, whoever he was talking about, a family member, saying that they had just asked him for some money. Then he was like, yeah, but I'm going to hit her back and I'm going to send her something. And then he was saying to her how, oh, he just got a new phone and he got a new phone number. And when he said that, I looked down at his phone cracked up, scratched up. I was like, why is he lying? Like, why did he say he just got a new phone if his phone's cracked up? But then I said, maybe it's a new phone and maybe he just dropped it and cracked it. I don't know. It seemed like they was talking about family stuff. I don't really know. The music was going and I was like really not trying to tune into his conversation with him on the phone, really. So then we make it to Best Buy. The moment we get to Best Buy, this man says to me, you know that Best Buy has a credit line? And he was like, you know that you can go in here and open a line of credit and get stuff and you can pay on it. I said, no, I didn't know that. I don't shop at Best Buy to know that. So then he tells me, man, you know, listen, I'm trying to shoot some promo this weekend and I need to grab a couple things. And, you know, they have where you can open up a line of credit in here, and that could be really good for you and your credit. And you can start helping build on your credit by paying on some stuff. So I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, okay, I did just get a credit card that I'm trying to get familiar with and learn about. And of course, I'm trying to build my credit so I can start and get into the Airbnb business. I was like, okay, like this might be a nice opportunity. And of course, this man said to me after what he said, you know, I'm paying for everything, so I'm just trying to help you out. I'm just looking out for you. Then he says, I would do it myself if I had my ID. But you know my ID's in my wallet and dude's not back with my car yet. So I just believed him and I said whatever. So we go inside of Best Buy and we're walking around, we're looking. Then we walk up, we find an associate, and of course he's talking the entire time and trying to talk like a businessman. Yeah, we came here. We're trying to open up a line of credit. We trying to get a couple things, and we doing some things, and da da da. So we walk over. Shout out to Terry because he was very nice and sweet. We walk over, and Terry's sitting there talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, my girl right here. She wants to open it up in her name." So Terry's telling me like, "Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna need your card, and we got to do a little credit check. Da 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 this, da 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 that." I was sitting there. I said, okay. Gave him my card. And, well, I didn't give him my card. Like, you have to, like, type in the card information on the keypad. Like, of course, it's like a bunch of other stuff that you got to do, all that extra stuff. But you have to type in your bank account, card information. I can't remember what exactly it was, but you have to type all that stuff in. So as I'm typing the stuff in, this man is literally right here, breathing on the back of my neck, my ear. That's not how you do it. Type it in like this. Do that. I literally said, can you back up, please? Like, what is your... I said, this is my information. I know what I'm doing. They're going to reply back to me and say, that's how we talking to each other? Is that what you want? That's how it is now? Okay, cool. I was sitting there typing the stuff in, like, ignoring him. And Terry was like, just sitting there back looking. So then he steps back and he was like, okay, cool, whatever. So he's trying to do the little, like, where he back up off of me. And he's walking around in a little circle, acting like he's looking at stuff right there. So then Terry finished doing the little credit check. And then he comes back and he says that I was approved for up to basically $3,000. So he's telling me, like, you know, you can use your credit today. So once he said that, that's when dude was like, bet. And he said, I need this, I need that, I need this. So when he said that, Terry was like, okay, I'm going to take you there and I'm going to show you where it's at. So at first, whatever he had asked Terry to look for, he was looking for it and they didn't have what he wanted. I can't remember if it was a mini laptop. I can't remember what it was. It was so long ago. But he was just asking for different things. And Terry was like looking. So then he finds a couple things, and like as he's finding stuff, he's just bringing stuff back and sitting it down on the counter. So we're standing there and he's saying to me, you know, I already have a MacBook, I got this, I got that. Then he's asking me like, you know, what do you got? And I told him like, I don't got none of that. And I was telling him how I don't even know how to work a MacBook. Like we was just going back and forth, casual conversation. I go and sit down because him and Terry's just now just walking around the store looking at stuff and talking. So I go and sat down right in front of the cash register, and I was just literally sitting there with a blank stare, like staring off into space. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was just so numb to the situation, like what was going on. I don't even know how to explain my feeling on what I was feeling, but in that moment I was just sitting there and I just had that gut instinct, like, is this the right thing to do? And I just was going back and forth with myself. So when they get done walking around the store getting stuff, Mr. Million and Terry comes back to the counter, and Terry rings everything up. When he rings everything up, he's like, oh, it's 2,000 and something. And I was like, what did you get? And why are we spending the full amount? Like, I'm confused. He's telling me, man, just calm down, and then continues to talk to Terry. He's asking Terry, well, how much is left over, and then Terry tells him. And so after he says that, he's like, okay, walks off. I'm standing there, but like he kind of like grabs me to walk with him, puts his arm around my shoulder, like grabbing me, holding me, and he's like, man, I'm gonna need you to cheer up. This is what we about to do for you. We about to go and we about to get you some stuff. I was like, I don't want nothing. He was like, nah, we about to get you something because I want to cheer you up. Like, you look all sad. Like, I just want to make you feel better. Basically saying to me that he wanted to just make up for the way he acted earlier that morning. So I was just like going back and forth, and I said, okay, whatever. I'm just going to get something. This nigga said he's buying it anyway, so why not? So he's like, what you want? What you want, an iPad? What you want, some AirPods? What you need, another laptop for school? Like, what you need? What you want? And so I was just like, I don't know what I want. I don't know. So he's like, look, okay, let's look at this. We walk over to the iPads. It was like some little iPad minis. And he was like, this is cute for you. Like, let's look at this. So we looking, and I was like, no, I don't really want this. And then he was like, man, I really want this for myself. So then he calls Terry over. And he's telling Terry that he wanted this specific iPad mini or iPad, whichever what it was, in a specific color. I think it was black or whatever color. And Terry looked it up. They didn't have that color. So then he was just forgot about it. He was like, okay, whatever. Moving on. So then we're walking around. We still walking around. He's like, you sure you don't want nothing? You sure you don't need nothing? And in that moment, like, I didn't really know what to get or what I wanted. So then he's like, well, if you don't really know what you want, we for sure about to get you a phone case. Because you could always use a phone case. So then we walk up to the phone cases, and we're sitting there looking, and he's like, what you like this? Passing me one. What you like this? What you like this? I'm like, nah, I don't like this. I'm sitting there looking at all the phone cases. I literally did not see one that I liked. If I would have seen a phone case that I like, I would have got it. Didn't see a phone case that I like, so I was just like, it's cool, like, whatever. So then he sees one that he likes, and he's like, yeah, I'm just finna grab this one. Grabbed it. So then he's like, you sure you don't see nothing you want? We still walking around the store. Oh, he's stopping, showing me, oh, this is this, and explaining to me different things, and explaining to me how to work this and do this, knew so much about shit up in the Best Buy store. So then we walk back to the counter, and he gives Terry the phone case, and that was it. And Terry rung up everything, and the total was basically close to $3,000. The whole credit line, $3,000 basically. So now Terry's explaining to me and Mr. Million about the credit line lease, saying that we had to pay $64 that day in the store. And then he said after today, every week or every 2 weeks, however many weeks goes by, that there's going to be the payment. And he was saying how much the payment was going to be. And then he was telling me, like, there will be interest charges if you want to wait. Basically, the little rundown. So we both like, okay. So Terry's like, all right. Bags everything up, hands us the stuff. Then as we walking away, Terry screams to us, literally, please don't forget about me. Y'all should give me a shout out when y'all go famous and when y'all blow up. Give me a shout out about who sold y'all's equipment and y'all stuff. Mind you, this man had been walking around the Best Buy store with Terry, filling his head up. He's telling Terry how, of course, he's into real estate. He shoots promo, and he's doing this, and he does this, and he does that. He's telling him that he's a YouTuber. He's telling him that he gets paid for his social media. Like, he's just telling him all these different things. So Terry's sitting there geeking, thinking that we like some famous YouTube people or some upcoming people that's finna blow, basically. And when Terry said that to him, he literally geeked, and he was like, I'm gonna give you a shout out. Thanks. So then as we walking out the store, he's walking, he had a little backpack, he got his little bag, I had a bag. So as we walking out the store, this man says to me, guess what the best part about getting all that stuff was? I said, what? He said that it was free. I said, what? That's not free. I still got to pay on that stuff, like laughing it off. Because I'm thinking he's meaning like it was free because of how you're able to get everything up front and then pay on it. So then he ends with, but yeah, you know what I mean. And then we get back in the car.